colors of blue.
Chuck's session today was absolutely phenomenal. A business leader sharing with us from his heart, great stories, great information, a lot of motivational stuff that I'm going to follow through on.
His message is so clear and that everybody can identify with it.
And those 6 C's really made a lot of sense for me as a beginner coacher.
The whole idea about embracing change and collaborative work to be exciting and useful in the type of practice that I envision for myself.
His speech was not more like a coaching to me, it was more like inspirational that this is the place that I really need to go.
Keep standing for a second. I want to see if you can just wake up a little bit. I didn't go for a run this morning. Let's go. See if you can do this for a second, okay?
But you got no destination.
You're really energetic. Okay, just roll your shoulders back a little bit, relax a little bit. You've been sitting here for a while. Okay, grab a seat, please. Thank you so much, sir. I am so delighted to be here today. I can't tell you. The opportunity to give back and just volunteer some time here this morning is something that I feel very passionate about because you people are very important. I mean that very sincerely. I've had the pleasure and privilege of working with a variety of coaches over the years, and it's my understanding and belief that coaches are just so passionate, and you people impact people like never before. Many years ago, whether we'd have time management programs or sales management programs, you name it, here's what we found. Some 2 years later, after an intervention was delivered, even though there's follow-up and so forth, and we've kind of gone back to work and left our clients on their own, what do you think happens? Not a whole lot, right? Not a whole lot. And we looked into this, and we found that the organizations that got really sustainable, lasting change were the organizations where their managers were coaching. The growth of coaching over the last number of years, Paul and I were talking about this, has been exponential. So coaching is a process that takes people from where they are to where they want to or need to be in a way that they couldn't get by themselves. Most coaches that I know are really, really passionate about helping people. But the business side of it is a bit of a challenge, isn't it? It's a bit of a challenge. And that's what I wanted to try and inspire you and talk about today. I want to talk about what I call the 6 C's of coaching, and they're not quick fixes. Okay, they're not quick fixes, but I want to challenge you because if you've just started a practice or if you've got a practice that's kind of floundering a little bit, I want to encourage you, stay with it. And I want to share the 6 C's of coaching success with you this morning. The first C is clarity. People can't refer business to you unless you're absolutely clear on what you do. What is the value you provide to your clients? Why do clients want to pay you to do something? That's your branding. So you want to concentrate on being clear on what it is you do. What are the specialties you're going to be excellent at in the top 2 or 3 areas? Now, you can add to these specialties as time goes on. But if you say you're going to be a specialist in 7, 8, 10 different areas, it's going to be challenging. Here's an exercise that I can guarantee you will really create some insight for you. Go and ask your clients. Why do they choose to work with you? That is really, really enlightening because sometimes we might think it's one thing, our clients will set us straight. The next C is change agent. We ask people in conferences, what one word would you use to describe the last decade? What do you think comes up? Change. Do you remember this? Do you remember these things? And this was not the biggest one, by the way. Okay? This was not the biggest one. No matter where you look, we've seen huge amounts of change. I can't tell you. That is the biggest challenge that we have today. I really think that the reason that you're in business is to navigate through change, is to help people navigate through change. What I've found is the most successful coaches are change champions. They're always innovating. They're always changing. If you did the same thing that you did 10 years ago, you're dead in the water today. And guess what happens when we plateau? We stop changing. The rest of the world keeps changing. So what happens? Are we progressing, staying the same, or regressing? We're regressing. When you're going like this, it's about at some point when you're getting really good at something, you need to start a whole new climb and reinvent yourself. If I was a mechanic 15 years ago, and you brought your car to me 15 years ago, but I did nothing new, I didn't learn anything, didn't innovate, could you bring your car to me today? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because cars today have anywhere between 12 and 20 onboard computers. The way we fix them, the way we diagnose is completely different. Completely different. The world is changing so much, folks. So as coaches, we need to be on the forefront of driving change. We need to be on the forefront of innovation. So when we're talking about change, folks, you know what the challenge is? Getting to the point in our lives where staying the same is more painful than initiating change in important areas. When you get to the point when you want to change because you determine that that change is not a should, but a must, that's where you want to get to. For 2010, I want to challenge you. What does that change look like for you? What is it you need to change? Next thing, collaborative. I think the top coaches today are collaborative. I really see this. One of the things we found is that the larger organizations, if you are in business coaching, for example, or even personal coaching, you can get way bigger projects if you collaborate with other coaches that have different skill sets than you. Has anybody ever seen this before? Robert Kiyosaki was referred to me some years ago, and I read his book. He's got a number of books called the Rich Dad, Poor Dad series. But this one in particular, the cash flow quadrant, really impacted me, really impacted our company. You'll see he's got the E for the employee, S for self-employed, B for business owner, I for investor. Okay? Now, most people are employees. You can see up there, employee group and self-employed group are about 80% of the population, but they only have 20% of the wealth. These people here, we make money on our time. Here's what collaboration can do for you. It gets you over to here. Does that make sense? You're into making money sometimes without doing the work because you've referred business to somebody else. And someone else becomes a salesperson for you. They refer business to you. That's the power of collaboration. Some years ago, I was in a breakfast with a client, and they were asking us if we could do some stuff for them. We didn't do the work in this particular area. And so I said, I do know someone that might be able to help you, but I really can't guarantee. So why don't I just, hook the two of you up and see if they can help you, if she can help you. Unbeknownst to me, became an $80,000 project for this woman. $80,000 project. And I only found out because we got an $8,000 check in the mail a month later. I'm going, what in the world is this for? And she believes, because we referred her to that client, that she's getting $80,000, she's going to refer 10% or give us a 10% fee sort of thing. That's collaboration. That's collaboration. Do we like to refer business to her? No problem. Right? That's collaboration. When you can find coaches that can complement you, you can work well together, that's how you can grow much faster. Tell me if any of you can relate to this. At this economy, you're coaches, you know a lot of people. Do a lot of people call you saying they're out of work and they're looking for work? Do you get some of those calls? Isn't that incredible? I've had a couple of them just this week. And you know what's amazing to me? I haven't talked to these people for 7 or 8 years. And all of a sudden they're unemployed and now they're going to network. Right? Well, here's the point about collaboration is don't wait until you need it. Try and seek out people that you want to stay in touch with and collaborate with. Because they may not have an opportunity for you now, but at some point in the future you might be able to work on something. Just because you're sort of kindred spirits in your skill sets. I really think collaboration is probably one of the most powerful things you can do to bring your practice from wherever it is now to huge growth potential over the next 2 years. Networking and collaborating with people who are absolutely just in line with what you want to do, and you can trust each other and work together. The next C, creative. Creative. I think this is so important. I always say it in my office, I'm not as smart. I'm just very, very creative. Your success will be determined by the quantity of new ideas that you come up with on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis. I really believe that. Your challenge is to remain creative. The most successful coaches I've seen are so creative. And that's the big challenge. When the world is all negative in the media, and let's face it, the media has not been kind to a lot of things right now. Everything's very negative. It's easy to get down. But your job as a coach is to be creative, not only for your clients, but for yourself as well. I think creativity trumps IQ. Quite frankly, I really do. Next one. Coming to 2 more. Confident. When we moved to our current office, you know what I did? The first thing I did, I wanted to look for a dry cleaner, a really good dry cleaner. So I went to a couple of dry cleaners in the area, which is off Yonge Street there. This is no exaggeration. I went in and I said, do you do a good job in dry cleaning? Oh, I don't know. I'm out the door. Do you do a good job at dry cleaning? Well, why don't you try and figure it out for yourself? I'm out the door. I honestly went to 3 places before I found someone that says, yes, we do. Why don't you let us do your shirts for you? That's confidence. That's confidence. And I think the top coaches sell confidence. The confidence factor to me doesn't come from a certification. It doesn't come from calling yourself a coach, what does it come from? It comes from real, serious commitment and passion to stay with it. You've got to discipline yourself mentally to stick through the tough times. And you coach others to do it, but you know what? I know a lot of coaches, and you need to do it for yourself. You need to find that way to get through the tough times yourself, because you're great people, but I know you've had some tough times in this coaching side of it. And the last thing I think is character. You know, coaching as we said, it's not a quick fix. It's not a make $1 million overnight sort of thing. It's a long term. Most of our business, you know where most of our business comes from? Maybe it's for you as well. It comes from referrals. Most of our business is referrals. And you don't generate referrals if you don't have absolute strong character. If you want referrals in the future, don't compromise your integrity. Don't say you can do a great job at something if that's not your expertise. Don't promise a client something if that's not really what you're going to be able to give them, because that'll hurt your character. That'll hurt your referrals in the future. I have a really interest and passion in real estate. My real estate agent is a very good friend of mine. But you know how I met this gentleman? I phoned him up. He had an ad in the Toronto Star probably some 8 years ago. I was looking for a house in a certain neighborhood, and I phoned him up. And his question, I never met him before. I said, I want to look at this house. It's a little smaller house. And he said, well, tell me about your lifestyle. And at the time, I was married. I had one child, one on the way. And that house is not for you, he says. I'm thinking, excuse me? I just want to see the house. I didn't ask for your opinion, right? That's not for you. Look, I just want to see the house, buddy. Just show me the house. He said, I'll show you the house, but I want to show you another one in the same neighborhood. You know what? When we saw that place, he was right. It just didn't have the expansion opportunities for us. We went and bought a different house in the same neighborhood. He's the kind of guy, it's not about his commission. It's about the character and integrity of his business. And that's why he's so successful. Drew Homewood. You know? And I think that is something I want to challenge you with. Don't ever be tempted to compromise your integrity. Okay? People have incredible, God-given potential, incredible talent. You people are the coaches that bring it out. And that's why I'm delighted to be a part of your day today, and I thank you so much. And I want to challenge you and encourage you, as you go forward into 2010, don't just make it a typical year that you're going to survive, make it a year you're going to thrive. And I want to challenge you with one final thing, if I could. How many of you, if you have a watch on, can you take your watch off for a second? Here's what I want you to do. To remember how challenging it is to change habits, I want you to put your watch on the opposite hand. Put your watch on the opposite hand. I want to challenge you. Keep it there for 1 week. To remind yourself of the changes that you are going to initiate for yourself to make 2010 the best year ever. I want you to go from coaching to Ka-Ching. So have a great year in 2010. God bless.